What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you exactly how I meal prep my meals for the entire week. Now I'm hoping to get this done. I'm going to time it, but I'm hoping to get it done in under 2 hours, but I'm going to show you exactly each meal, how I make it, and how I save time in the kitchen. I'm also going to post all my macros for each meal as I'm making them to give you guys a good idea of how healthy the meals that I'm actually making are. So the first thing that you want to do to make sure that you're not starting behind is to preheat the oven. I preheated mine to 400 because that's a good temperature to cook the chicken at and the other things that I'm going to be throwing in as I'm cooking throughout the day. So what I like to do on the chicken you buy, I bought a big pack from Walmart. A lot of times there's just little chunks of fat on there, so I'll always cut those off just to keep, the macros consistent, not getting any extra fat on there that I don't want, or just the pieces that are chunky and might not taste the best. So after you cut all those off, I like to cut up my chicken into cubes or just smaller pieces because they cook faster that way. So once the chicken's all cut up, if you have a clear baking dish, it's really nice for cooking up chicken. I just like to spray the bottom with cooking spray just so it doesn't stick to it. I'll put all the chicken in the bottom. 4 chicken breasts fit in there pretty nicely. So the only seasoning I like to put on my chicken is a little bit of salt, pepper, and then some salt-free chicken seasoning. Because when I eat my chicken, I like to either put barbecue sauce on it or salad dressing if I'm making it into a salad. And then we throw it in the oven for about 35 minutes and we'll see if it's done then. I always check it, make sure that it's all cooked all the way through, but 35 minutes should be about right. So next we're going to make the rice because rice takes quite a bit of time to cook as well. I have brown jasmine rice and I'm going to measure out about 1.5 cups of rice, and then the serving size recommends about twice as much water per rice. So I'm going to add about 3 cups of water. So the next thing I want to do is cut up the sweet potatoes. You can peel them if you want, but I don't really mind the taste of the skin. So I'm just going to cut off some of the bad parts and then dice them up into cubes, and then we'll boil them on the stove and mash them at the end. So after you dice up the sweet potatoes, I'm going to throw them in a little pot of water, and then I will start boiling them on the stove. Once they get soft, which usually takes about 15 minutes, then I will start mashing them after I drain them. So next we're going to start the stir fry with some stew meat. It's lean stew meat, you get it at Walmart, and it's great for making stir fries or any kind of casseroles that you want to make. Frozen steamed vegetables, you can throw those in and they work great for the vegetable as well. Yeah, then I'll put a cover on it and turn it to low and for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'll let the juices and the flavoring soak into the meat and the veggies. Okay, so this sauce for the stir fry is really easy. I kind of just whip it together. I don't even measure things out because I've made it so many times. So I just have 2 cloves of garlic minced up in here. I'm gonna throw quite a bit of soy sauce, some sesame seed oil, and then lastly, a whole bunch of honey. And it doesn't look like much, but it does go a long ways once you spread it out. So the next thing we're going to cook up is a big juicy steak. I'm going to probably slice it up into about 6-ounce pieces once I'm done. But for seasoning, I put together a little mix. This is something I found online and I've tried it and it's really good. So it's just a little salt, pepper, oregano, thyme, and rosemary. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it and I'm going to sprinkle it over on both sides, and then I'll throw it on the cast iron skillet and grill it up for a few minutes and then throw it in the oven to cook through the middle. So the nice thing about having a cast iron skillet is that once you're done searing both sides on top of the grill, then you can throw it into the oven and bake it right in the pan. If you don't have a cast iron skillet, you can always just use any flat top skillet, and then you'll just have to transfer it to a oven safe dish to cook the meat the rest of the way through. So I let the skillet heat up with some olive oil on it, and then I put the steak on. You want it to be hot before you throw your meat on there, so it just cooks the top layer and the bottom layer, and then we'll throw it in the oven to cook the rest of it. So I cook both sides for 3 to 4 minutes each, and now I'm going to throw it in the oven. I'll keep that in there for about 10 minutes. I kind of like my steak medium rare. You can keep it in a little longer depending on how thick the steak is, but other than that, let's let that cook and get on to the next thing. So the next thing on the agenda is to cook the asparagus. This is one of my favorite ways to cook asparagus. You just get a flat baking pan and some tin foil covering it so it's easy cleanup afterwards. And really I just lined it, I washed them, lined them up. I'm gonna put salt and pepper on it, a little bit of lemon juice, and then garlic powder to finish it off on the top. It's so good. So I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 15 minutes and then they should be done and we can get started on the next thing. So the next thing we're gonna make is our lean ground beef burgers. They're 93% protein, 7% fat. So I just sprayed some ham on there and we're gonna try to get all 4 burgers on this small little dish. I don't think we're gonna fit them, but we're gonna try. So to spice these up, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm just gonna do salt and pepper again, and then actually I'm gonna throw a little smoked paprika on here, and that should give it a nice good flavor. So while we're waiting for everything else to cook, we're gonna start chopping up some veggies. Broccoli, I did these last because they don't really take that long. The broccoli just needs to be steamed. And the green peppers, I actually just eat them plain. I don't cook them, I just will eat them, or you know, if I have a salad, I'll throw them in there. So we have all the food cooked finally. Now we just have to package them in our containers. It only took about an hour and 15 minutes. I have a timer going to cook all this food. This is probably 6 days worth of food, all cooked in under an hour and a half. Now we just have to put them in containers so they can store in the fridge. I use Fit Packer containers, which are really nice for grabbing on the go if you need to take them to class or to work. They fit really well in the fridge and they stack on top of each other. So if you've ever done any meal prep before, you know having a scale is essential. I love this scale. I bought it about a year ago, and it's so easy to set something on it and weigh the food out or weigh exact portions that you want. My scale runs in ounces, pounds, grams, so I can weigh pretty much anything that I want. So what I'm gonna do is put my container on there, and then I'm gonna weigh out 6 ounces of chicken. Hopefully I can get 4 meals out of that, and then we'll add some more to it. Okay, so we weighed up to about 6 ounces, and I'm gonna do that to the rest. So I've decided to put all the meats in first because that's just an easy way to weigh them out. So for the stir fry, I think I'm gonna put about 8 or 9 ounces just because the veggies will add a little bit more, but hopefully I get about at least 6 ounces of meat in there. So after the stir fry, we're gonna move on to the steak. I'm gonna have to cut that up and divide it evenly into about 6 ounce pieces. So there is a little bit of fat on these steaks. That's just the way they come. I tried to cut off a little bit of it, and we're gonna try to get 6 ounces. So for the last protein source, our lean burgers, we're gonna fill those in the last 4 containers, and then we will get on to the carbs and the veggies. So now I'm gonna add some rice. The rice is gonna go with the stir fry, obviously, and then I'm also gonna throw rice in the burgers just to get a good carb source. The rice that I used was jasmine brown rice. So how my meal plan is broken up is that I have high carb days, medium carb days, and low carb days. So for the low carb days, I'm only gonna add about 1/2 of a cup of rice for each meal. For the high carb days, I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of rice, and then obviously the medium, I'm gonna have 1 cup of rice. So I ran out of rice for the last one, so I have plenty of leftover sweet potatoes, so I'm just gonna add that. So now we're gonna add the veggies to these trays. For the chicken, I'm just gonna throw in about 1 cup of green peppers or so. I mean, you can guess. So I separated this out for you guys into low carb meals, medium carb meals, and high carb meals, kind of like my meal regimen. So this is the low carb section. For the stir fry meal, the macros on that are gonna be 38 grams of protein, 34 grams of carbs, and 7 grams of fat. For the steak meal, with almonds, there will also be almonds added to that meal. There will be 41 grams of protein, 17 grams of carbs, and 31 grams of fat. For the chicken meal, there is also going to be almonds added to that, and that will be 39 grams of protein, 10 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of fat. For the burger, it's going to be 27 grams of protein, 28 grams of carbs, and 9 grams of fat. So this is the high carb meal section. Now for the stir fry in the front, we're gonna get 43 grams of protein, 83 grams of carbs, and 9 grams of fat. For the steak in the back here, we're gonna get 38 grams of protein, 33 grams of carbs, and 18 grams of fat. For the burger, we are going to get 32 grams of protein, 77 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of fat. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this entire meal plan that I'll be using for the entire week. I hope you got a lot out of all the macros that I listed for you, and hopefully you can try some of these yourself. Let me know in the comments below if you did. As always, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more awesome videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.